Right then, just a hump day check-in here. Is that it? All right, I'm way up in Crystal Falls, Michigan. I just put a door on a Fisher Paykel refrigerator that I was here last summer to do, and they had ordered the wrong door. Commercial series Fisher Paykel refrigerator. It's got two opening doors, big ones, for the fresh food section. No, excuse me. They're standalone units, side-by-side columns. One's a freezer, one's a reefer. They sent me the door for the freezer, which is a left-hand swing, and I needed the door for the reefer. So I put in the notes, wrong door ordered, blah, blah, blah. Some mental midget put in the comments for the call today, doors are flippable, meaning you can take the door, flip it all the way over, and install. Do not put comments in the notes if you are a mental midget and a glittering jewel of incompetence and you literally don't know what you're talking about. Period. These doors have handles that you grab and pull. You cannot. Yeah, I brought the pipe along today because I knew I had some long drive time. It's 2 hours to get up here. Ha! I might literally run out of gas. I didn't fuel up this morning. Back when I was in Central, since I was coming up here all the time into the Northwoods, it was a habit, I would always top off the tank in the morning. So I didn't have to worry about that. Now I can put fuel in the van every other day. Sometimes every third. Wow. I fueled up yesterday, had a lot of miles. I was sitting at about 3/4 of a tank. And I just loaded up my stuff and blazed out the door, and yeah, I'm way up here in the UP and not so sure I'm going to get back to a Quick Trip gas station where I can use the company card. Might have to put fuel in on my own dime. I'll get reimbursed, but bullshit. Anyway, so I'm just leaving this house. I remembered it as I came rolling in down this road, because this road actually goes through an old growth forest. If you look at this woods, it's all old growth. This is an old forest, right? So whenever I encounter these areas, I immediately slow down and start looking for mushrooms. Yep. It's in these kind of woods that you'll find the kind of mushrooms that take a while to get established and produce. And one of those species is lion's mane, or what's the other name for it? Something beard. Anyway, oh my God, they're awesome to eat. And they grow on stumps and down trees, and they look like somebody's beard. That's why it's called lion's mane. Looks like hair. Bright white. Looks like a bright white fresh snowball on the side of a stump. They don't get very big, but they grow in clumps, in individual clumps. So if you find the right log, you'll find 6, 7 of these snowballs stuck to the side of them. And they taste, when sauteed in butter, they taste just like lobster. They're heaven. But they are rare and hard to find. And typically you find them in old growth forests, growing on oak and hardwood stumps. So as soon as I come rolling in here, I'm like, perfect environment for lion's mane. Old man's beard. That's it. Looks like this, only it's a lot whiter. Anyway, I could have swore I saw a clump. Not a big one. About the size of a softball. On a stump on the way in here. So I'm making it a point to run out of here in low range and crawl and try to find it and see if I'm right. And not only that, try to find other species as well. Chicken of the woods, which I don't like, but this is the kind of forest it grows in. Of course, oysters, things like that. So that's what I'm in the process of doing. But when I was coming in here, there's a lot of trees down. There's one back behind me that's all just twisted to shit. So I'm at this customer's house, and she says, "Did you guys get hit with that bad storm last night?" Because she knows where I live. I said, "No." I said, "I had a few sprinkle showers come through, and that was it." "Why? What happened?" She said, "It was bad. We had power out from 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. 10 at night until 2 in the morning, or longer. There was a tornado that went through across the lake that they live on. Did a bunch of damage." I'm like, "What? I didn't hear anything about this." Then again, it's the UP, it's Michigan, so maybe that's why. But, oh yeah. She said the wind was coming from a totally different direction. And they had 60 mile an hour winds. Yeah. Surprised there's not a lot more trees. All right, down. So let's put her in crawl gear, in mushroom hunting gear, and let's disembark. Fortunately, this is a secluded side road, and I hopefully won't have a tail. Seems like every time I turn onto one of these roads, I end up with a tail, and then I have to either pull over and let them go by me, or pull over and let them go by. But there ain't gonna be anybody coming up on my rear here, so I'm just gonna crawl and see what I can find. Use my new window switches to roll down the window. That solved all my problems. Haven't locked myself up. State park closed to hunting and trapping. So I'm in a state park. Holy shit, look at those trees down. There's a monster in there that was ripped down. I should be paying attention. So this is a state park, which explains the old growth forest aspect of it. They don't come in and log the state parks. They log the county parks all the time and the county forests, because that's a source of revenue for the county. But the state parks are pretty much pristine and left alone. So if you're a mushroom hunter and you want to get into some interesting and good prospects, hit the state parks. But you might want to check regulations, because some state parks have rules saying you can't go mushroom hunting. Man, I hope I find that. It jumped out at me like a sore there's something on the other side of the road. What's this? It's not old man's beard, that's for sure. Something else, and I'm not going to get out and investigate. I'm looking for that old man's beard. That's the one I want. So much so, if I get down the road here and I don't find it, that sometimes happens to me. I see something coming in one direction, and then going out, I don't see it. Oh, there's some oysters. They're pretty far gone. They're about 40 yards out, and I can tell they're already yellow colored, so they're too far gone. You come in one direction of travel, and you see it, and you turn around, you go back, and then you don't because it's at a different angle. So if I don't see this, I will literally turn around and come back in. That's how bad I want this guy, if it is what I think it is. So, but anyway, yep, I gotta turn around. I'm not so sure. I don't know what I was gonna say. I'm not so sure I'm gonna find it, but we'll try. It was on the right side. Okay, those are the oysters. You know, I might take a run in there just to see. Because from this angle, I see more on the backside of the tree. Get the four-ways on. Let's take a little walk. Right there. Oh yeah, those are elderly. Yeah, these have been here a while. Yep. Yeah, we'll leave them go. But this is the kind of woods you're looking for. I mean, I can't imagine what a person could find stomping around in here. Everything from black trumpets to truffles, or not truffles, chanterelles. Yeah, that's all gonna be in there because that ground has not been, or the trees have not been disturbed ever. Yeah. All right, let's keep crawling along here. So, the day is going swimmingly well. I was actually dreading this particular call, hanging this door, because I didn't remember the situation or the customer. What's funny about this situation is since it is stretched on so long, the customer was actually resigned to just give up on it. F it. I walked in and I said to her, we did all the pleasantries and whatnot, and I said to her, if this ends up being the wrong door again, or I pull this door out of the box and it's damaged, do you want to just write off this whole experience? And she goes, yeah. She had the fridge doors covered with tchotchke magnets. She pulled a scrunchie. Yeah. So the fridge doors are all covered with tchotchke magnets and family pictures and stuff like this. I said, where are the dents again? She said, I don't even know. So once we took all the magnets off, we saw two little dimples that looked like somebody shot a BB at the door. So that's what the problem was. And DTR is the one that noticed it when he was here putting a door on for the freezer. because that had sustained a dent from delivery. What do we got there? Okay, that's just raw wood. Oh, it's so hard to see. Stuff looks like mushrooms, but then you roll up on it and it's not. Yeah, look at this. Oh. That's a maple. That's a hardwood. Usually it's the softwoods that come down easy in a high wind, not so much the hardwoods. Nor do they blow apart like that. Man, I hope I wasn't seeing something. Seeing something and thinking it was something. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, so yeah, you got these two BB dings in the door. And the lady didn't even remember they were there or anything, and she had them all covered up anyway. And she said, I don't care. She had already dropped something out of the refrigerator, and I don't see it. I wonder if I was seeing things. She had already dropped something out of the refrigerator, and it landed on the freezer door and put a dent in the top of the freezer door. So she uses her stuff. This isn't, a foo-foo kitchen, a showroom kitchen, or anything like that. She actually lives in her house and lives in her stuff. So she straight up didn't care. She said if it ends up being this is all wrong, just write it off. Cancel the whole deal. I'm like, all right. And that's kind of what I was rooting for. But as it turned out, they sent the correct door. And I'm not seeing that mushroom. And the install was pretty easy and it went flawless. So yeah. I don't know. I think on this lion's mane, I think I might have been seeing things. One more stab at it. It's a very mushroomy looking woods though. It'd be fun with the right life partner to who isn't prone to flaking out and running away over every little thing. Once I got my Argo built with the little camper on the back, going up to an area up here in the UP, a state forest, and doing some camping and mushroom hunting with the Argo. That'd be fun. Not gonna lie. Combine it with some other stuff like trout fishing or other kind of fishing. Yeah. A little time spent on a beach on one of the Great Lakes. Come on, mushroom, where are you? Looks like there was a fire in here at one time too. I'm seeing a lot of stumps and logs. I got a tail. Laying on the forest floor that they're all charred black. So I'll bet you many, many years ago, there was a forest fire in here. I do not see it now. What the heck? And of course I got a tail. Yep. All right. We'll keep going down the road here. Maybe maybe it was farther down and I just I'm just remembering it wrong, but I could have swore it was in that old growth forest. But we'll look here. Yeah, it was. Because now I'm on a road where the ditches, there's actually ditches, and the I know I saw it in the woods, and I can't see into the woods here because of all the weeds growing up in the ditches. So I must have been seeing things. All right, I've got one more call. Fortunately, that will be in a town that has a quick trip gas station. So if I do need fuel, I can put some in. It's a diagnostic on a top mount refrigerator. It's making a squealing noise, so I really don't know what that is. Alright, let's see here. And then I'm done. So I'm gonna go home and there's another project I was gonna do and I can't remember what it is. So hopefully I can remember. And check things off the list one at a time. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So I tried to hit Phil up to see if he would go with me down to the trailer and help me out refacing those cabinets on the weekend. Lisa, the park owner, got a hold of me Monday and asked if I would paint one of the sheds in the park. And I don't have my spray rig set up to spray it like I usually do, so I'd have to do it with a brush and a roller. But I think I'm gonna do it because then for payment she can knock half off of August's rent, and that'll help me out financially. So I think I'll do that. So Saturday morning I'll probably paint that shed, and then the rest of the weekend I'll stay the night, and the rest of the weekend I will work on the cabinets at the turn. But I thought if I could get Phil to go, I could go paint the shed while he's working on the cabinets, because he's Mr. Construction Guy. So he knows what he's doing. I could just give him, minimal instructions and just let him have at it. But it turns out he's got family plans this weekend, so he can't do it. And I can't ask Ian because that's just too far for him to go. Unless he came down to the lake house, jumped in the Jeep with me, and rode with me down there and back. That might be an option. He too is construction. He built his own house, so he knows what he's doing. I'll hit him up, see what he says. So, All right, that's all I got for now. Mia. Oh yeah, here's one thing about Mia. When I talked to Mia last night, signed off for the night, she told me that she's going to Iowa today for a wedding, Amish wedding. And I said, is that an overnighter? And she said, no, it's a day trip. And I said, well, that's odd. I said, it's 5 hours to Iowa one way. So that's 10 hours alone in driving. When is there going to be time to have a wedding function in a 10-hour day? There's not. So she said, yeah, I'm going to be coming back midnight, 1 o'clock. In my head, I'm like, no, this isn't adding up. So this morning, she chimes in and says, yeah, we're heading out, and I'll be coming back tomorrow night late. I just wanted to let you know what was going on with me and Little Bitters. I said, there it is. So I said, wait a minute, I thought you said it was a day trip. Oh. I saw some mushrooms. And she said, no, it's an overnight. I totally forgot, so I am not packed for an overnight. I'm like, what? We talked about this last night, and I indicated that, no, this cannot be a one-day trip. It's just not possible. How come that didn't jog your memory and cause you to pack for the trip, right? So she doesn't have anything. She doesn't have an overnight bag. She doesn't have deodorant, toothpaste, anything. Yeah. Wow. So if she was on the super pill, that wouldn't have happened. No, she most definitely, that super pill had her a lot sharper, put it that way. So, not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned, right? But she's driving the whole crew to Iowa, so what's up with that? I don't know. All right, that's all I got. Talk to you soon.